Okay, we're going to do a quick op art design. That'll be pretty cool. We're going to start with a cup, because what we're going to do is something similar to this, but eventually get to this. And I'm going to finish this. I didn't get a chance to finish it. I was going to finish it while you guys watched. Okay, so now we have to make the circles first. I just got a cup. I'm going to use my pencil. You can do this whole thing with your pencil if you want. I've seen it done with pencil and it looks awesome. You just have to know when to push hard and stuff like that. So I'm making 3 circles. One of my circles is popping off the ground. And now the next thing you do is you're going to measure. Sometimes I like to measure, sometimes I don't. For this one right here, I measured. What I did is I put my ruler where I wanted to start. I actually put it up here. If you notice, my ruler, this is not 0. Right here is 0. So make sure you just don't put your ruler at the end of the paper. Make sure you know where the 0 is. So there it is. And then every line, you can see I use centimeters and I marked it. You can use inches, you can use quarter inches. Inches are a little big. I would use at least 1/2 inches, sometimes quarter inches, but centimeters are quick and easy. So I marked it on both sides of the paper. You can see my pencil marks because I haven't erased them yet. And then when I drew my lines, I was able to line them up so that they were perfect. So with this one, I am not going to measure, but I am going to use a mat so I don't get my mat underneath dirty. And this one I'm not going to do a Sharpie. I'll just do this one with pencil because it ends up looking just as cool. And so if you're not going to use a ruler, you have to just slowly kind of eye it. So I am just going to eye it. Sometimes that works for the better. Sometimes that is not as good. If you're going fast, it's easy to eye it. And I'm doing mine kind of close. You definitely do not have to do yours this close. Actually doing it closer is actually harder. One thing, you want to make sure you go to the edge of the paper. Don't stop at your line like right here, because if you do that, it's just going to look unfinished and not clean. So all these lines, I'm trying to make them parallel. That's, if you guys remember, parallel are 2 lines that will go on forever and never touch. These are parallel, these are not, because if they shoot it into space, they'll eventually cross. See that? So we're trying to make parallel lines. I'm not doing a great job of it because they're a little, I'm starting to do diagonal, but that's okay. I am going to keep doing this until I get to lift up, here's a circle, to the end. And I'm not going to do all the way to the end. Oops, don't do that. And I'm pushing kind of hard on these lines because these lines are going to stay. Once you get to this point right here, this one I did with Sharpie, same idea. I will just finish this one up. Lift up. And you can see this one, since I did it without measuring, again, you can kind of tell. These are just kind of fun to doodle with. If you were going to do a really nice artwork, I would definitely use a ruler. And you notice I am using a ruler to draw straight lines. It's hard to draw perfectly straight lines if you don't have a ruler. Okay, once you get to this point, this is when you're going to start bumping it. So each place where the lines hit is going to be a bump. And you want to kind of keep this distance right here the same as this distance. Mine's a little large because if you don't, what happens is they all kind of mush together. And I've done that. Now, I wasn't good with my lines I didn't end them at the circle, so it makes it a little bit harder when I do this part. But you just keep doing this until you can kind of see it's making that circle, until you get to something like this. And again, the lines that were a little bit closer were a little bit more difficult. Once you get to this point, you erase your circle marks. I need to go back in and make sure that these are touching. Like I said, this one was kind of a fast one. And you can see the difference. This is kind of a pop. This one's more of a lump. Kind of depends just how you want to do it. And you also notice when I wasn't paying attention, look how close these are, how far apart these are. So I am working on this one. And this one I did like notebook paper. I want to do it just to show you guys. This one, instead of doing circles, I traced my hand. And then I measured it, like I showed you. Did my lines. And I didn't want to mess this one up, so I used pencil to give me an idea. I'm going to go over it with Sharpie, and then I'm going to erase all the pencil. So I did the pencil so that I kind of had a guideline as to where I'm going to put the Sharpie. And this part's not difficult, but when you start getting to this part, you can see I kind of struggled with trying to get these lines so that they still stayed enough a ways apart, but still looked okay. So I'm going to keep doing this. Okay, I just need my last little finger right here. Just taking my time. Now, like right here, when I did this red line, it has to bump too. So I'm going to have it bump, come through, and come back down. So it's going to bump up, through, come back down, bump up, come through, come back down. Okay, so it gives it that whole finger thing. Now I'm going to erase. And I'm actually, don't do this, I always do this, where I go really fast and I leave spaces between, like, I'll probably have another one right here. Continue your line so there's no spaces. All right, so I'll take a minute to erase this. Okay, it's all erased now. You can see the hand bumping out. Now to make it more interesting, I'm going to start shading it. So value is very important. Dark to light. The lightest part of this, if this was a bump, a true bump, the lightest part would be the highest part. Down here, there might be shadows. So I'm just going to use my pencil and I'm just going to start kind of shading where it's probably more dark. And with each one, and let it kind of naturally to where it's going to be lighter, like this, and kind of make sure that that's the lightest. I'm just going to go through and shade it all. If you have a pencil, this is just a regular HB, but if you have a softer pencil, it shades a lot easier. But if you notice, I'm just kind of rubbing the sides like this, just to give it that little extra oomph that makes it look like, hey, I'm popping out. Look at me. So you guys can, then you'll be able to see it a little bit better. And again, if you saw the other video with the worm video, whenever I'm coloring, I always color, it's the darkest part, so I have to make that a little darker, in the direction that it's going. So this is going in a bump, so my lines are curved. This is going to be straight, so my lines are straight. And they're not vertical straight, They're horizontal straight because that's the direction that is. And the little crease is going to be the darker. So I'm going to work on this. Okay, I just took a second, kind of shadowed in all these. I'm just going to do one side so it looks like the shadow's coming. The sun's coming from this direction, so the bump is only shadowing the one side. So it just has a little bit of a darker value on this side. This finger kind of popped up, so it has a shadow all the way over there. You don't want too much because you want the lines to be the most interesting part. Then you get kind of a cool looking 3D op art. So hope you guys have fun. Remember, you can do anything. You could do a dog shape, you could do a robot shape. Just do a simple shape, sketch it out first, measure your lines down the paper, draw them across, and bump them. Now, if you bump them up, they're going up. If you bump them in, they're going down, they're going in. So just think about that and have fun.